Don't worry, starting soon. Alrighty. Hello, and welcome to Fam Sports Journal. I'm Bazag. Salut legan. How's everyone doing? Kamusta ba? I hope everybody's doing great. I hope everybody's having a great time. You can follow me on YouTube, on X, and on Substack. The reason why you can see in the corner a YouTube Shorts logo is where I mostly post on YouTube, on the Shorts section. So let's get things running. Let's get everything going, because I'm happy to be here. I'm so excited to be discussing with you all around here. You can check me out on all those social media, but those three I'm the most active on. It's where I'm mostly active, even though I post on TikTok, but I don't push that too hard, because I prefer being more of a writer of golf than a video content creator in itself, and I like more writing and radio than anything else. So let's get things flowing here, and let's get things happening. At this point in time, Team Hall is actually the one at the top of the leaderboard, and that was incredible to say the least. It's a really phenomenal state where the LPGA and the PGA Tour are at this point in time. The Grand Thornton Invitational is a tour event that only happens once a year after all the tours and whatnot are done. Even though we do have at this point in time the DP World Tour doing still events. At this point in time, LPGA, whether they LTE or not, and the PGA Tour, for the most part, are finished. The Hero World Challenge has been done. The Hero Cup, something like that, and the last LPGA Tour has been done, and the LTA one also has been done. Everything was phenomenal. They both happened on the Florida Tiburon course, which is amazing. It's great. I love that course. It's beautiful with the palm trees and everything, and it just has phenomenal weather, to say the least. At some point in my life, I'd love to be there physically and enjoy some Tiburon golf course at some point. So the Grand Invitational is a really interesting event. I really love it. There's a scramble. There's a bunch of players from the PGA and the LPGA playing in teams. It's it's co-ed, if I might say so myself, and I like that. I like the idea of seeing co-ed golf in many shapes and forms. So how does the Grand Thornton Invitational work? So there are 16 teams. First round is a scramble, the second round is a foursome, and the final round is a modified 4-ball. The winning team splits $1 million. Simple, period. Done. And it's really fun. It's really great. And there's many things happening at this point in time. At this point in time, even though at the leaderboard, if we check it out right here, right now, that we can see that Lexi Hall, for a 17 on the par, she is on the top with her teammate and everything, and this is looking real good for her, and I can't say anything else about it. We would love to have other people topping, like, for example, in America, lots of fans of Nelly Corda and Denny McCarthy, but for some reason, Nelly Corda and Denny McCarthy are not showing up. They're 14 under par, and that is kind of tedious, to say the least. Another one that has been sticking out there a lot is Patty Tavaratanaki and Jane Knapp. Those two are playing really good. 13 under par. They're 59 on the first round. And then one of my favorites that we are seeing right here, which she is doing 11 under par for 61. and it's the two Canadians, the Canadian team, Brooke Henderson and Corey Connors. Those two are great golfers, and as a Puerto Rican that loves Canada, that is a team that we should be pushing a little bit more and giving a little bit more of hype, but that's not happening at this point in time. So that's the thing. So at the top, as I said, we got Charlie Hull and Michael Burnham. And you know what's funny? There was this press conference as they usually do after things are now running, and as we can see, good things are happening for Team Hull and Brennan. But the funny thing of that team is that the only inspiration, and I'm not joking. They said that on the press conference. The biggest and only inspiration they're having, other than having a lot of fun on the course, it's none other than Charlie's 12-year-old niece, Pearl. It's funny yet adorable to see that being a thing. She asked Charlie Hull, "Are you having fun?" And she was like, "Yeah, we're having fun." And then she asked Michael, "Are you having fun?" "I'm having fun." And that's what matters. That she's having fun, they're having fun, and that the biggest inspiration is the 12-year-old niece, Pearl, Charlie's 12-year-old old niece, and that is adorable. That is really cute, if you ask me. So yeah, before we get a little bit deeper into the Grand Thornton Invitational, I want to actually have yourself a little bit of a final report of the pre-Q done at Lala Iacha Q School. The chase continues next week, but here the final rounds report. I wanted to mention this for a second here, so don't worry. I'll be back on the Grand Thornton Invitational, but I like to, give you a little bit of an insight of what's happening on the LPGA in general. This is the LET, the Ladies European Tour. So Lala Iacha Q School, 90 players make it through to final stage. So pre-qualifying for Alicia's Q School on the Ladies European Tour is now complete across 4 different courses in Marrakech, Morocco. Following 3 rounds of action at Fairmont Royal Palm Golf and Country Club. Naria Golf Club, Palm Golf Marrakech Ariaka, and Samana Golf by Nicholas. At total of 90 players have made it through to the final qualifier, which takes place next week between 16th to 20th of December. Here is an in-depth look at how has made it through after the third and final round of pre-qualifiers in Marrakech. So Donegan dominates at Fairmont, beginning with Fairmont. Ireland's Aini Donegan continued where she left off yesterday, following round two's 66, 600 par, with a brilliant 67, 500 par. 2024 Cordes Cup winner finished the pre-qualifier with a score of 13 under par, 5 shots clear of the next best score. Donegan said, "Everything was pretty solid this week, both golf-wise and mentally. I never really got ahead of myself today knowing I had the lead. I just stayed patient and kept thinking about the next shot. I was really happy with how I kept myself together. I've got to completely forget about this week now. Next week is a totally new tournament across 2 different courses. I'll take it shot by shot and 1 day at a time. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And I'll just try to enjoy it. So far, I've had a great time. I'll have some rest tomorrow, then get back to it next week." Finishing in a tie for second were England's Jess Bakers and Finland's Katri Baker. South Africa's Gabriela Venter finished solo 4th on 3 under par, with Spain's Constanzas Guerrero's 5th. South African's amateur Jordan Ronman bettered yesterday's score by 7 shots to finish 6th, alongside Switzerland's Elena Colombo and English duo Chantal El Chaib and Lina Bailey. Quoting here, "I like to play under pressure," Rodman said. "I told myself to stay calm and stay focused. The goal was to qualify, so it made my game a little easier. I'm unbelievably happy. It was quite the journey to get here. a lot of obstacles, so just to be able to make it through means everything. So a total of 21 players made it through at Fairmont. The full leaderboard can be found on the ladieseuropeantour.com. Simrancher tops leaderboard at Noria. Argentina's Magdalena Simranchers produced a final round of 71, 2 under par, to win the pre-qualifier at Noria's by one shot. That's crazy to say the least, So the 29-year-old dropped her only shot of the day on the 17th, but rolled in a birdie on the third before back-to-back birdies on 14 and 15 to win with a total of 5 under par. And that makes America Anna Morgan also signed for a final day 71, 2 under par, to end the week in solo second after a round that included 4 birdies and 2 bogeys. India's Tvesa Malik was third on 3rd under after a level par round with a birdie on the 4th and bogey on the 17th amongst her 16 par. So on the marathon of Q School, Malik said, "I've realized now that less is more. It's hard to do that at Q School, but I'm just trying to pace myself and make sure I'm feeling good for the final rounds of next week. I'll now do what I need to do to recover, but won't overdo it too much." So Germany's Christian Eisenbeis and USA's Sarah Scott finished in a share 4th place on 2 under par. So overnight leader Victoria Gailey of the USA made it through to the final qualifier after a tough final day, which saw her finished in solo 6. Chilean amateur Michelle Meladori was 7th with 4 players at T8. A total of 26 players, including 6 amateurs from Noria, made it through to the final qualifier, which begins on the 16th of December. The full leaderboard can be found again on the ladieseuropeantour.com. Maudley wins by 4 at Samana's pre-qualifier. South Africa's Kanjuri Maudley fired a final round of 64, 4 under par, to win the pre-qualifier at Samana. The 24-year-old produced another consistent day at Morocco, rolling in 5 birdies and only dropping 1 shot on the day 3 to win with a total of 11 under par. Quoting here, "Today was a good round. I knew I wanted to shoot level, and didn't have to do anything special, but I wanted to keep the momentum going for next week," said Moodley. "I took it 1 shot at a time. I was happy with the pars. I made 1 bogey again today. I was hitting every fairway and green and made some good putts." So Q School for the second time around has been a bit easier. I think I have been more prepared playing a season on the LAT. I got lucky that I played in the same pre-qualifying course that I did last year. I'm definitely taking a rest. My body is a little bit tired. It's good to have the same mindset I got to play in the final stage last year. So I have my notes from last year, which helps make final stage a little bit easier. So Jennifer Rosenberg from the USA finished in solo second, placed after a final round of 66, 6 under par, which included 7 birdies. "I wasn't too nervous," said the American. "I just knew I needed to put up a decent score. Today I couldn't miss anything. Everything I looked at went in. I laughed at some points. I definitely want to keep up the momentum going for next week. I've done this pre-qualifier 2 other times now, so the experience definitely helped me, but also having an awesome caddy on my bag, Johnny Lane. I always thought the LTE could be an awesome play to play on. And I have a few friends on the tour, and they say great things. I know it would be a great opportunity to play on the LAT, and being able to travel around the world would be a bonus." Iceland's Gudrun Broksvingsdokir, sorry if I butchered that, that's a really hard name, was third, and the Nigerians, Georgia's Ismbok in fourth with three. Player tied for fifth. A total of 21 players made it through to the final qualifier from Samana, including England's Tyler Kirby, who produced a clutch finish of a birdie and a haul out, eagle to make it on the number. Quoting here, I honestly can't believe it. I hit a really nice shot into the par in the three. So 17th and made a birdie. And knowing my situation and where I was on the leaderboard, I was just focused on trying to make another birdie up 18, said Kirby. Walking up to the green, seeing the ball already in the hole for eagle was completely surreal moment. Me and my caddy even joked walking to the 17th tee about holing out on 17 or 18. So for it to actually happen was unbelievable. Again, you can find the full leaderboard on the ladieseuropeantour.com. So then we have finally at Palm Golf Orica. Highlands Can Bundabi topped to the standings on 10 under par, having lead for all three rounds. Caitlin McNabb finished in second on 7 under par, with Northern Ireland's Olivia Maffei third on 5 under par. Quoting here, Q School has been great so far. McNabb said, I think playing in the LPGA stages 1 and 2 of Q Series has helped me settle in and know what to expect. I'm trying to stay very task focused on execute the game plan I have set out for myself. I know that this is a marathon and not a sprint. A total of 22 players from Palm Golf Orica made it through to the next week's final qualifier in Marrakech. This includes Brazilian amateur Lauren Grimberg and Abigail Arevalo of the Philippines, who overcame a disastrous 82 plus 10 to finish T17 thanks to cards of 70 to 69. So according here, I have a pretty good week, Greenberg said. Of course, I was a little nervous on the first tee. It's my first time playing Q School, but I was confident with my game. I have my coach as my caddy, so that was really good for me. And I try to enjoy, and thankfully it was enough. While on her phenomenal turnaround, Arwal commented, after my first round, I felt really upset because it was a terrible score. But I did my best to get rid of the negative feelings. I called my mental coach right away and told him what happened, but I realized I was so robotic and stiff. It's very mental when I told him that. We immediately shifted our perspective. Instead of being upset with the score, we were excited on the second round. So again, you can find the leaderboard on the ladieseuropeantour.com. So finally, next week we will see the final qualifiers take place between the 16th and the 20th of December at Royal Golf Marrakech and Al Madin Golf Marrakech. Players will alternate between each course over the first 4 rounds, with the 5th and final round being staged at Al Madin Golf Marrakech. You can follow along across all social medias of the LET and YouTube channel, so you can get access, all that. You can get the LET Golf and the LET Access on Instagram, X, and Ladies European Tour on Facebook and YouTube. Remember to use the hashtag Q School to keep yourself connected with everybody that is participating on the Q School. This is really fun, and I know it was a little bit of a deviation from what I was actually going to talk about of the Grand Tour Invitational, the Grand Thornton Invitational. Grand Thornton Invitational is amazing, and it's happening. It started today, and we have some great updates and news. Other than that, Charlie Hall and Michael are really at the top, and they're playing really good. So another thing I wanted to talk about from all the other players that are actually on the top and they're playing really good, it's none other than Lexi Thompson and Wyndham Clark, riding good vibes waves at Grand Thornton Invitational. So the thing is that Charlie Hall and Michael Brennan had the 18th hole scoring record on Friday at T-Boone Golf Club for about half an hour before Lexi Thompson and Wyndham Clark ended with a flourish to match their 17 under total. Now, Thompson, a mainstay at the season's ending CME Group Tour Championship, which I love that CME. There were so many good things happening at that point in time, and I wanted more of that to be happening. So, yeah. So, one of the most celebrated LPGA Tour stars of the latest decade, along with her major champion winning partner Clark. Sit tight for the lead after the opening day at the Grand Thornton Invitational, a 55 that was the product of an early ham and egg effort, and that is great to say the least. It's really hard to stay on the top on these really big invitational tours like the CME, like the Hero, like the this one, the Grand Thornton Invitational. Because the thing is from this here is that the Grand Thornton Invitational, um, for the most part, what you'll see is even though there's different formats throughout the whole event, there is actually a really big tough competition in like who got the best putting abilities. That's what you'll mostly see for the most part. And that is really fun to say the least, but at the same time it's a little stressful for most players, because playing on the green, even though it's my most fun part of golf, putting, because I love mini golf and all that. um Putting is stressful because it's the hardest thing. You might think that it's easy to play and putt, but the thing is that you know putting, you have to actually, by all means, understand how the wind is going and how the green is, slanted, and what's the speed of the green, because the way that it's going to be slanted, it's the way that's going to, the angle is going to give the speed to the ball. Got to know if it's going to go a little bit, curved, a little bit straight, it's going to go straight down. You never know, because maybe it's like you're in the top side and and then the hole's on the lower side, because it could be like slanted that way, or the other way around. The hole is a little higher than where you're standing. That sort of thing. That's really difficult. And don't be typing on the chat right now, because if you type that, I am gonna just not do much about your comment about aim pointing. I know that aim pointing is a thing. I know that aim pointing is really like useful in many situations, but I find it really cheatful. So don't be talking to me about aim pointing on the green. No, that is not a thing we do here. No. If you want to do it on like friendly matches, fine. I'm okay with that. But not on a major, not on a tour. Don't do that on a tour. That's like when you're playing with your friends, like let's say blackjack, and with your friends, you like, sure, we can count and go back and forth with the counting or whatever. But when you're in an actual casino, don't do that, because there is actual money involved in there, and there's actual things happening there. And even less if you're on those tournaments where they play blackjack, don't be counting, because that's cheatful. Because it's the same thing as aim pointing. Most people that aim point, they can sink it easy. And that's what I don't like about it. I like for you to just understand the wind, check out the way that the green is slanted, look at it, and then just enjoy yourself a little bit of a good time. Feel it, go in, and tap it in. If you missed, you missed. Not every hit on a green is gonna be perfect. That's the thing. Don't worry about it. So, it's great to see Lexi doing great, even though Charlie Hall and Michael Brennan had the most incredible record starting off the round one of the Grand Thornton Invitational. So Lexi is following up that sort of power and momentum. So, quoting here, Thompson said, We really just fed off each other, and that's what matters. When you're playing on teams, it's not about who goes first, who goes second, none of that stuff. It's all about going in and doing what you have to do. In the sense of, you know, in the sense that you gotta understand what your partner's doing, and feed off from what he's doing or what she's doing, and complement each other. Just because you are playing a little bit separately in a way, and you're going back and forth, doesn't mean you have to forget what he did or what she did and just play along with your own mentality. No, your strategy and her strategy has to match completely. That way, you'll be chef kiss, hitting and swinging. You know. So Clark said everything. We asked what went well on opening day. So the pair opened with 3 birdies in a row before setting for par on the par under fourth hole at Tiburon Golf Club. However, and hear me out, they ended up sitting at 15 under after their first 15 holes, thanks to an eagle on the par fifth, on the sixth hole, on the par fifth, sixth hole, and another eagle, a hole out deuce that came on the par fourth hole on the 10th hole. So the duo paired number 16 before making birdie on their final 2 holes of the day. Number 17 and 18. They shot 17 under, 55 to match Brennan and Hull's record-setting number on day 1 in Naples, Florida. And I've been to Naples, Florida. Beautiful place. It's not a place I would frequent a lot because I like more the over-the-top entertainment. Just my way of traveling. I like over the top, lights out, sparkles in kind of entertainment. So yeah. So anyways, I've been to Naples, Florida, beautiful place, and it's great for retirement. So the duo paired number 16 before making birdie on their final 2 holes of the day, number 17 and 18. They did amazing at those holes. So Clark, who won the 2023 U.S. Open, is making his debut at this event. And said he and Thompson pretty have similar games. Pretty much. So according here, Lexi hits it really far off the tee, and it's one of us in its play. We're significantly past the competitors, and we have our advantage there, Clark said. She's a great putter. I felt like our games complement each other perfectly, and I didn't think there were any flaws in her game. We had a lot of fun out there. Clark had 2 top 5 finishes this season on the PGA Tour and came into this week after another top 10 at the Tiger Woods hosted Hero World Challenge last week. Thompson, meanwhile, had her first full year playing a reduced schedule on the LPGA Tour and also recorded 2 top 5 finishes this season. Thompson finished tied for 4th at the Majors LPGA Classic from Simply Give. But also teamed up with Megan Kang and fell just short in a playoff at the Doe Championship. So this is her 3rd start at the Grand Thornton Invitational. Quoting here, Grand Thornton does great things for this event, said Thompson. To bring the PGA Tour and the LPGA together is, I'd also agree that it's phenomenal. I agree. And I love that this is a thing because, for the most part, throughout the whole year, when golf is really at its peak throughout the year, people tend to give more attention to DP World Tour and to the PGA in general, And it's great to have the LPGA and the LPGA LT have its, shine right here on the Grand Thornton Invitational. And I'm just happy about it, because the women don't get that much praise other than the people that are really fan of these golfers and people that watch consistently whatever golf. That's a thing. I knew. So, to bring the PGA Tour and the LPGA together is what we want to end our year on. Nice, more relaxed tournament. And seeing both tours come together, it's a great way to get things rolling. But I think so far from let's say pickleball, golf, tennis, um, and sports that are similar to that matter, that are more about the finesse of the player than different vibes of gaming, of playing that game. Because where I'm trying to get at, this could not work whatsoever in a way when it comes to basketball. On the other hand, because you might be saying, why we don't do this with other sports? Why don't we co-ed other sports? There are some sports that just do not mix well. Don't mix well. And specifically, games like basketball, boxing, MMA, um, and so on and so forth. I can mention a bunch more, but I don't want to be like mentioning a bunch of sports. But the thing is, they won't work on those sort of sports because the mentality is different between, male and female. And let's say in women's basketball, it's all about playing the game as finesse as you can. On the male side of basketball is how strong can I slam it on your face? Period. That's the whole mentality. And even though women and men can play together in basketball, I think that it won't mix well with because of their mentality. Men are going to be just slamming it all the time, and then women are going to be trying to be playing more skillful and doing all these fancy, passes. Because when you watch a women's basketball game, for the most part, all you're going to see is just fancy passes between players, like, and then they throw it. That's basically it. But yeah. Anyways, I'm a golf fan. I'd rather watch golf all the time than any other sport, even though I like softball, baseball, boxing, and whatnot. I can watch all those others, but something about golf is just so relaxing to watch. And I've had great times reporting other sports, but I'm sticking with golf forever now, just because it's more relaxing, and I like that feeling. Plus, the community is better, and things are going viral at this point in time with my news and my articles and my shorts. So Thompson is no stranger to playing alongside the men. She's teed up with on the PGA Tour before, playing in Las Vegas in 2023 and very nearly making the cut. She also grew up alongside two brothers, Nicholas and Cordes, both of whom are also professional golfers. Nicholas is caddying for her this week, and Thompson said she's enjoyed watching Clark play so far in the first year of their partnership. So, quoting here, I just enjoy watching Wyndham hit, Thompson said. Every shot seems so solid, and just the height and the shot shapes that he's able to bring into some of those pin locations, it's very impressive. So Clark too was quick and he praised on his partner. Quoting here, it's fun watching Lexi putt, Clark said. She's made tons of putts, so I was just right behind. She aims the ball incredibly, and I was telling Nicholas, I was like, gosh, every time she points at something, she's aimed right at it. That's all you need. That's all you need. Anyways, for all of you that are tuning in and you're listening and you're enjoying yourself a good time here with the Femmes Post Journal, written by Anna Van Zark and reported by Anna Van Zark, and just doing the show by yours truly, Anna Van Zark. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and follow me on YouTube, on X, and on Substack. That way we can get things flowing and running as best as possible, because I am having a blast here, and I want you all to show the blast I'm having to other people, and that's more incredible to say the least, to acquaintances, friends, and families, and long lost relatives. Anywho, continuing here with the news, that was just my little self promotion there. So Thompson and Clark are hoping, however, to continue riding the good vibe wave. According here for me, I haven't felt really stressed once today, which is rare for me in a golf tournament, Clark said with a smile. It's been really fun. I know. Saturday will bring a little bit more stressful as alternate shots. But with that being said, it's been a lot of fun. It's a great way to finish the year. Scramble and foursome are two different formats, and foursome is a bit more stressful because you gotta go one stroke at a time per player. Unlike the other format of the scramble, where it's like you decide how things are gonna flow as things progress. Hence the name Scramble. To play with Lexi has been a treat for thus far. And I would agree. Lexi is a great player, and I've always enjoyed seeing Lexi, even though I'm a fan of Brooke Henderson, Nelly Corda, Lydia Ko, and Gino Thickentoll. I'm a huge fan of those players. Lexi Thompson has been phenomenal. Every time I watch her swing that club, it's just incredible to say the least. And I've been having a blast this whole time, enjoying all these great golfers from the PGA to the LPGA. It's a blast, and having them come together at the end of the year is a dream come true for many. This is the third year this Grand Thornton Invitational has happened, and I hope that it continues to happen. Maybe not as a Grand Thornton Invitational, maybe not in the same place, but I would love to see at the end of the year, whoever has the chance to get invited from the PGA and the LPGA come together, and that'd be really great. We don't have to keep the same rules all the time, but I would love to see just at least them coming together, in whatever format you feel like it's best suited. But third year, still going great, and tomorrow we're gonna have round two, and I cannot wait for round two to happen. So thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for being here, and thank y'all for being amazing. I've been having a blast so far, and y'all are gonna continue hearing from me from as long as you can. So keep swinging, and if you swinged it wrong, remember, au revoir. Take care. Catch you on the flip side.